Alright guys, so here it is. This is the Basher Stingray and I guess Stingray chassis. It's finally complete. Went ahead and set up articulation for the back. That's the shocks, that's the links. Now it was extremely important for me to keep the ground clearance on it. So I designed the chassis to work in a way that it does not lose that clearance regardless of how much you articulate. So that is always going to be there. I guess an example of that would be the front. There is a reason for that to work that way, and there's a reason for this not to go up and down. Now there is articulation in the back. As you can see, I'm holding the chassis and lifting the wheel. So yes, there is articulation in the back, and of course there's articulation in the front, but with that bit of a difference there, we don't want to lose that ground clearance. I mean, that is the whole point of this chassis, that you're going to have that ground clearance. Also, you want your chassis to be able to do this because when you're crawling those huge obstacles, you want those front wheels to fall down and hold on to that obstacle so that it'll pull you through, pull you over. It's using the weight of the axle and the wheels, and hopefully you're going to put, you're going to weigh down your wheels so that those tires are actually going to grip and actually pull you up. Now, I was not able to get this perfect the way I wanted it to. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist when I'm trying to do these chassis, and I don't like to put them out there unless they're absolutely the best I can make them. So, these shocks, there's going to be a little bit of them showing. Now the reason for that is this one on the left hand side is extremely close to the case of the motor. So had I made it go back anymore, it would have made it crash in there, and then that would have created friction when it was going up and down with the springs and everything. So that was an issue. But as you can tell, they're about the same distance away as the mounting points here. So if you're gonna get caught on something on this little bit area here, you're still going to get caught on this piece here. Now, the only difference is having the shocks in there actually makes it a little bit easier to slide past it, because those shocks, they actually move a little bit. So if you get caught on a rock in there, it's got some wiggle. It can go up and down on that, and then that'll give you a chance to actually grip there. Whereas if you get caught on this piece alone and those shocks weren't there, this is actually a solid piece that comes over this way and sticks out. So if there's a rock stuck in there, it's a lot harder to get this to go over and over, So this is the final design pretty much right now. I mean, you could always, make your own changes to it and make it have more or less articulation. This is as much as articulation as I like mine to do. I mean, if you go any more than that, you start running into trouble trying to get your crawler to actually go over the rocks, because you get all tangled up. I had that issue with my Sumo when I got some extreme articulation out of it, and I went back to not having so much articulation because of that. Now all these pieces are gonna be posted for sale, and there's more pieces here. So because they charge for the filament and all that stuff, this might turn out to be a bit more expensive than the other one, but I'm gonna leave the other one as an option, the one where it's just solid in the back. You guys saw it's still good for crawling. It still can go over the obstacles. I feel that it's got enough articulation to go over most obstacles, but a lot of people were asking about giving your articulation in the back as well. So there is gonna be, I believe, I mean, I haven't run the numbers yet, but I believe they're gonna charge a little bit extra because there's gonna be extra pieces in there. Thing you can do to get away with not having to do that is you could actually make these links yourselves if you decide to do so, but you're not gonna have the exact measurements, so you might have to buy a set of these, or at least one of them. I'll try to set them up to where you can buy them individually. That way you don't have to pay as much if you're gonna make your own links. So that way you get the exact angle and the length, so you can build your own links. But anyways, this is this is what you're gonna get. The other thing, I used original links for the front just to save a little bit of money on that when it comes to printing it. And there's gonna be a few changes you're gonna need to do if you do get this chassis, and that is you're gonna have to put a little ball in between the mounting spot here so that you can raise this ball any higher, or not a ball, you can just put a spacer just so you can bring this to the height of the servo. Same thing in the back, you want to bring that ball to the height of the servo so that you can attach this piece to it. That's something that I had to do to be able to make this chassis work, because if I were to make it any lower, it will give, you know, problems with the articulation, and articulation is what you're really working for here. Apart from that, there's little things. You also have to drill a hole on the mount here, right under the hole for the servo, so that you can mount the link right there in the front. You're going to want to put a spacer in there as well so that the link is straight. If you look at it from the top, you want those links and there, that's straight. So that's the links, they're straight, same as in the back, straight, straight. Obviously you can make them go in or out as much as you want to accommodate for your tires and your articulation, but this is what worked out for me. Let's see, these you can see that's the shocks right there. They're limited, as in the bolts that are inside, I cut them down to size to fit my needs. You go this way, you can see that's the rod right there, and then you go the other way and it compresses it, and that's the rod on the other side. So you're gonna have to limit those to get the articulation you want. What I did, I believe I shortened these by 10 millimeters, and I believe I went to about 15 millimeters shorter on these. Don't quote me on that, I'm gonna have to measure it. But if you want to go the safe route, once you get the chassis, cut it down a couple millimeters at a time, or just put spacers, like a little bit of tubing that'll fit in there in the shocks, so that it limits the travel, and you're gonna get to the right size as you tinker with it. Because like I said, you know, you might want to go with more articulation than I do, or you might want to go with less. Just, you know, make it work for you. You know, don't finalize it until you get the right performance, what you want. I did not go with springs in the front because I want that body to come down as much as possible. If I put springs in there, it's just gonna ride like this, and that doesn't really look nice, you know. I mean, it looks kind of funky that way. So you want that chassis to be down to give you a nice round shape to it, so that when it falls, it'll roll over a little bit, and you see you got that going on. When it does that, and if you're giving it speed, those tires will grip and spin you over, and you might be able to save yourself. It kind of looks like an upside down turtle. Sorry, but anyways, this is the bottom plate. On the other side of this, you'll be able to put your ESC in there. On the top plate, you'll be able to attach your battery, and everything fits in there nicely. Of course, you're going to leave room for the articulation in the front, but you can see that from the bottom. See, that's your articulation right there. The centerpiece, and then the shocks and the links on the outside. You can see the ESC is right in there. So all of it fits in there, no problem, and everything works out. Let me see, you can route your cables like I did, going through the inside of those links in the middle. That way it's out of the way, it doesn't interfere with anything. See, they don't shock, you don't crush the shocks, they don't cross anything. Same thing in the back. Route your cables to the center, then go inside. I purposely left the hole in here so the cables can go in and they don't interfere with anything else. And pretty much that's it. I mean, it's a simple design, it's just hard to get the measurements for. And I'm gonna try to make it as cheap as possible so that a bunch of you guys can get on it and start playing with it, and you know, pull some videos and stuff and have some fun. I mean, this Basher axles are really awesome in that they have a really good motor in there, and you can upgrade it very easily. There's so many motors out there you could put to get more power. This is way better than going with the Losi Micro or the Sumo Crawler, because not having those drive shafts in the middle makes it, makes it just so much easier to go over obstacles. And you get so many more options. A lot of guys just run digs on this, and that helps you lock the back wheels, and you're able to crawl a lot better. And there's a lot of tricks you can do with these motor on axles designs. And having the motor in the front makes that front heavier as well, so that helps a lot when it comes to crawling over stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the other videos that I posted when I was going over those cement blocks. The surface of that is extremely slippery, and these tires, as cool as they look, they're extremely slippery as well. I mean, I really don't like these tires for crawling. I despise them, really. They're horrible crawling tires. They look cool, they're big, they're wide, and they make your rig look really awesome, but truly I really don't like them for crawling at all. I mean, there's a lot of tricks you can do to it. You can stiffen them up with some materials you could use. You can make it softer. You can fill them up with stuff to make them stiffer. You can do so many things. I mean, there's people that put little bearings in there to make it heavier, but I don't like them. Anyways, like, I guess I got sidetracked. What that means is it's really hard to get over those cement blocks, especially the ones that are flat on the side, because there's nothing to hold on to. And yet I was able to pull this up over it because that extra weight in the front. So these tires were able to actually hold on a little bit to go over. But anyways, I'm just dragging along now. I don't know. I hope you guys like the chassis. I hope you guys like the fact that it's got articulation in the back. I mean, all of you asked for it. It's got articulation in the front. It looks cool. It's functional. Oh, the thumb test. Yeah, it's as tall as my thumb. Oh, before anybody says anything, no, I don't paint my nails. I actually dropped something extremely heavy on it, and I messed up my nail, and it hurt like crazy. But there it is. It's growing out, so I'll be fine. Anyways, that's the crawler. Don't expect it to go down and up on the back. Just expect the articulation. And yes, it goes up and down on the front. Anyways, there it is. Basher Stingray chassis. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.